I think we are going live. Yes, we are live. Alright. Hello everyone. Greg here from Brisbane, Australia. It's quite early morning. It's 5 o'clock Brisbane time. And today I would like to talk about my transformation. And not everything was going smooth. And I believe many people can relate to what I was just about to say, and I would like to unpack what happened and what did I do and how did I go about this, and it may help you in your journey with whatever goal you've got in mind. Remember, my goal was the total transformation, not necessarily weight loss. Weight loss is what you clearly can see in the picture, but it doesn't mean that was the goal of my transformation. So during the process, I learned a lot of things. I changed quite a bit in a way of thinking, in a way of approaching, um, in a way of discipline and everything else. So let's unpack. Let's start with what possibly can go wrong with what you're trying to achieve. And the first thing that comes in my mind is your goal is too high. What does it mean? It means that you're dreaming about something that possibly achievable, but not something that, to start with. Why you think is that way? Because let's say you're trying to fix something that um, accumulated in your body, in your system, for years and years, and you're trying to fix it within a week, within a month, and the goal is too high because it usually takes considerable amount of time to fix what you're fixing, and it's all in relation to time that caused the damage. So for example, if you gain weight, let's say in I don't know, 5, 10, 15 years time, you cannot expect to lose all that weight in a week. And if you lose, it's unlikely to to stay that way because you did not change the core, what caused it, right? Um, the second thing is it's you're trying to get to the outcome without understanding what is the problem. So, for example, you may have unhealthy lifestyle and you're trying to lose weight, but you're depriving yourself from food, and you believe that not eating enough will help you to lose weight. It's an interesting one because um, we tend ignore what's harder and we tend to address what's easier. So I would highly suggest, instead of trying something really hard and really difficult, start with something like simple. Another one that comes into my mind is commitment to change. That means, for example, you say, all right, I would like to lose weight, I would like to eat healthy, but then you say, oh, I'll have a cheat meal, or I have a chocolate here and snack there. It looks like that your idea of achieving something is there, but commitment is not there. So the first point I would like to reiterate is to achieve successful transformation, you would need to set a goal that is not too high, that is achievable. You need to start attending to outcome and not doing things around it. And the third one is commit to change and follow it. And this is why starting with something small is important, because it's easy to commit to something small rather than something big. The second biggest problem that I found during my transformation is the issues surrounding goal were not considered. So what I'm talking about? So let's talk about weight loss, because it's the easiest one to pick in. So when people think about weight loss, they're thinking about food, how much you eat, when you eat, what quality of food. But what about lifestyle? What about sleep? What about stress? What about physical activity? So all of that will tie in result, right? So for example, um, it's easy to pick on a weight loss. What's another example I can give? Oh yeah, right. You decide to buy a house, right? You start to work harder. You start working a couple of jobs, and you try to get more money to get the deposit for the house. But you did not consider your spending habits, right? So the idea is you cannot outrun poor nutrition, or you cannot save enough if your spending not in check. So the idea is to surround yourself with a range of considerations to achieve your goal. Not only focus on, I'm losing weight, that means less food. I need, get some money for house deposit. I need work more. There's many other things need to be considered, and they will be quite significant role in your journey. Another one is what I found is part of the issues around the goal. Is your goal defined well? So if you're trying to achieve something that you're realizing that it's not quite what you're trying to fix, it's one of the things, it may kind of um, distort you from achieving the goal. What example I can bring? So, for example, you decided to that you would like to buy a new car, and you're working towards getting a new car. But your old car needs some, I guess, maintenance, and you say, all right. So while I'm, saving money for a new car, I will fix up the old car, and instead of just patching it, so you focus mostly on um, uh, getting money for a new car, you spend most of the money that you earn on an old car, and that definitely takes you from the transformation point to uh, being unlikely to succeed in buying a new car. So you can clearly see that there are some things to consider around your transformation that is not directly visible in transformation path, but they need to be considered. The third biggest point is commitment. Commitment is the hardest one that I can see. And again, talking about fitness, I can see people having a really good time during the Christmas and then coming to gym or promising themselves, New Year resolutions to lose weight. And that commitment lasts maybe a day, maybe a week, maybe even a month, but it's not lasting enough to actually see the result. So what I would suggest is to define how badly you want what you're trying to achieve. Is it just a nice thought, or are you making progress towards your goal? So if it's just a nice thought, it's positive thought and everything, but it not lead you to the goal. If you're really committed and you really um, want it, right? You need to map it. You need to, um, I'd say, pay more attention to be more consistent with it, right? Another thing is, it's quite uncommon, but I noticed as well. If you'd like to achieve something, sometimes you achieve something that feels like it's yours, but it's someone else who wants something from you, and they make it as your goal. And that's really hard to commit something that is not quite yours. It's really nice to please people, but it's not quite yours. It's really hard to commit to it. So commitment is a big thing. And the third one in commitment is it a temporary thing or temporary fix, or is it permanent solution? So for example, show is Biggest Loser, right? The statistics shows that more than 90% that people who have lost weight on the Biggest Loser show gain back and gain more. The reason is that because things like Biggest Loser or anything like that would be designed to be a temporary fix to achieve something and not sustain it. So if you are tending to your goal with something that, okay, you achieve it, move next. It's not, it will be hard to maintain. So the idea is when you commit to your goal, think more as a lifestyle, as you know, to be happy with, and not something that you can achieve and forget about this. Another point I would like to talk is like how you measure your progress. So, mind you, when you measure your progress, I'm not talking about linear um, progress. I'm talking about what's your milestones to achieve. So, for example, I was 103 kilos. I want to be, 80, for example, or 70. And I've got the journey. So the first month I'm losing 5 kilos because first kilo is easy to lose, and then losing 2 kilos and then 1 kilo. So I would map my journey and see how progress is. So progress is actually a long-term definition. If you're not measuring your progress, if your goal is just lose, that weight, it may not happen because you really um, not measuring it. And if we're already talking about like a financial sense, it's some progress measured, and I notice it with people that I know, some progress are measured as manipulation of data. So, for example, um, you saved $500 for something, but in the process you incur a cost. They put you in a credit card that is $700. So $500 you can clearly see in savings, but credit card bill will come later, and it does not quite plug in well with your savings because in a net loss is $200. So see how sometimes you borrow something and you don't consider itself as a part of your goal, and then it comes back in some. So it is important to define the progress, to measure it, and and be honest with your progress as well. So another one is getting help. Getting help is an interesting one because many people are doing things that, first of all, they could be embarrassed or shy about. The second is they could be too proud to ask for help, or they believe they're too strong to ask for help. Um, it's not a good idea because help may give you perspective, help may give you strength, help may give you that sense of community as well. And um, one of the example would be, um, if someone trying to quit alcohol as a point of a dream of transformation. So what would be a helpful thing to do? One would say, well, not to buy alcohol, right? Yes, that's right. But in other, if someone comes say, hey, what you doing today? Let's do tour around the city. And it's not only focusing of what you're not doing, it's actually taking your mind completely to something else that won't consume your thoughts. So you wouldn't be thinking about drinking if you're in good company, if you're doing something else. Another thing, it's a big one, and this is one I personally struggle with, is to consider and accept help if you don't believe it's helpful. I would I would say, honestly say, I'm guilty of that, and I'm still learning. But it is important to know that you don't know what you don't know. And someone may see it and someone may help you, but if you're not open minded to accept that help, you will never learn. And that's a big one because we'll always believe that someone says something we don't believe in, it will lead us to failure. No, remember, you coming from failure to something good. So people that help you in a way, they may slightly deviate you from your goal, right? But they're not there to bring you back to where you started from. So that's a really good one. And the other one is a big one, and I have no idea how to overcome it. is an ego. Um, how can I explain it? So, ego, it's one's like, I cannot afford it if someone says something that is wrong, right? That means like you've got ego big enough that you don't believe in what others say. And it's funny thing because people are not trying to prove you wrong. If you forthcoming with what you're trying to achieve, people coming to help you. And it's not the point to be actually egotistic about that. I'd say like you may give it a go. Of course you need to think about it, not to accept everything, but you may need to give it a go. And it's really helpful. So number six, it's an interesting one, is avoiding stereotypes. Avoiding stereotypes is probably the biggest one, excuse me, that is helpful. The first one is it was always done that way. If you do it differently, it obviously wouldn't work. And you hear a very strong argument about that. And it may sound strong, it may sound positive, it may sound like forceful, but you know what? Because it was always done same way, this is where you end up. So to change something, something need to change. So that's the argument. You need to avoid that one. Another one is you should not do this, you should do that. And that's my opinion. So a lot of people have opinions, right? Um, and if opinion is only an opinion, I would say disregard it. But if someone has some credible information to present, to not to argue, but even present information that help you to understand what they're talking about and why it is important, I would say it's worth considering. And the other one is be brave and be different. You know what? If you want to be brave, if you want to be different, you will be the same. And when I say be different, it's not necessarily be rebelling. You need to be reasonable about that. And you will achieve your goals if you're doing something different to what you were doing before where you're not achieving the goals. So that's my kind of point about stereotypes. They always let me down, the stereotypes, and I decided to share them. The other one is a big one, getting out of comfort zone. Comfort zone is a big one. Comfort zone, I believe, it's a dopamine zone. Dopamine, it's a receptor, sorry, hormone. Basically makes us feel good, but it's artificial hormone. It makes us feel good in a short period of time. It spikes and then goes down, and then you need more to feel good. So there's plenty of different good hormones there that not cannot be found in a comfort zone, right? So try to avoid the comfort zone. Um, I think the comfort zone is what most people got them in trouble in the first place. So out of comfort zone, as much as possible. And comfort is opposite from change. So change is always feels uncomfortable, but change leads to something better. So you may need to do something that is out of comfort zone, right? And the last one is um, you need to be consistent in your efforts. You need to make body and mind familiar with what you're doing, because body and minds are lazy and they will do everything to make it familiar, to make it a pattern, to make it same as was last time. So if you're consistent, you're not fighting that change anymore. You're actually doing similar things every time, but you're doing them for better. So consistency is a key to get out of comfort zone, to stay out of comfort zone, and not relying on dopamine to feel good about your progress. Another one is a big one, and it's the hardest one. Actually, this is the hardest one. It's to surround yourself with like-minded people. So, for example, if you're trying to quit drinking, you would not surround yourself with people that usually go to pub with you. Those are good people. I'm not arguing they're not good people, but like-minded people. So, for example, you're trying to quit drinking and you replace it with, I don't know, jogging in the morning or in the afternoon or whenever you feel drinking, you go for a jog. I think surrounding yourself with joggers would help you, and joggers not necessarily, new friends, right? They could become new friends. It's actually a bonus, but they're like-minded people, and they won't change your mind as you should do this and you shouldn't do that. Um, Also, like-minded people, not all of them will support your change. It doesn't really mean that they just got their way of doing things differently. You need to accept that your change is your change, right? And not everyone should be agree with what you're doing. But if you believe you're doing the right thing, if you believe you're surrounded by good people, it's all good. Um, you, I know it's a hard thing to say. You may wish temporary or perhaps permanently surround yourself with people that bring best of you. So maybe people that you're surrounded with are fun, they witty, they whatever, but they're not bringing best of you. And when you're not bringing the best of you, most likely the worst of you comes. So here you go. It's important. Um, and the last one is surround yourself with motivated people. So like-minded people is great, but if they're not motivated, it's really hard to get yourself motivated. Change requires a lot of energy. Change requires a lot of I don't know, willingness to do something. So driven people, that people that you know make your goals to achieve easier, those people would like to surround yourself with. Um, it's something I usually talk about positive things, but there are negative things in transformation, and you need to take them gracefully. That means you need to be temporary, happy with your setbacks and plateaus. That means that your body achieve or mind achieve certain level that is adapting, and then you can take yourself to other level. It's like staircase. It's not like escalator that always goes up. You need to take step and it's flat, step and it's flat. But if you look after all, you're actually moving up. So if you got um, temporary setback, I would not say that you need to um, give up and think that whatever you do is a failure. Progress is not a linear thing. It may stagnate. It's normal. Everyone stagnates. Not everyone admits it, right? But everyone has their own plateaus and everyone got challenges. So do not give up when it's um, going, not even going, not even stagnated. Sometimes going backwards. It is okay as long as you commit to change and as long as you're surrounded by good people, as long as it's all defined well, keep going. Maybe you also feel that way, that your measurements are close to one another. So you know how I'm saying to measure your progress. So for example, when you're losing weight, it is important to measure it, once a month or even once a quarter. If you measure it every day you may have different food, could be different weather, different water intake, different metabolism. You cannot measure it so close. So maybe your stagnation, it's actually a virtual thing, it's not a real thing. So um, measure less, frequent, and spread it out. And every time that your measurements are stuck up, celebrate it. So it's a last one that I would like to discuss is give yourself a credit. Give yourself a credit as um, it probably took you to point where you are, what you're trying to change, number of years, and you're probably moving faster in reversing it. So without giving yourself a credit, you're not really helping yourself in a way of progress. So celebrate those successes. And also remember that we age. And as we age, it doesn't matter what you change, whether it's something mental or physical, it's harder to achieve. So when you actually were moving towards or backwards, right? You were younger, so you had a lot of fun, but you end up where you are, and that's what you're trying to change. Um, so when you change something, you know, age-wise, you're getting old, and things are harder to change. So you can just celebrate it because you're reversing faster than damage actually occurred, right? And also you're in a tougher position to do so. And just remember, if you look at my picture, the picture is 10 years difference. So if you're thinking like, oh, we had a good Christmas, good New Year, and you know, we put it all that weight on, it took me a couple of months to get rid of it. That's a temporary fix. That's not a lifestyle. What we look in the picture when you see my transformation, that's what took me 10 years to achieve something sustainable, something that I don't push anymore. I don't have any aim to lose weight. That's how I live. That's how I look like now. And the idea is to take longer time to achieve something greater that is more sustainable and more enjoyable and create that lifestyle that you'll enjoy at the end. I also put links down below a couple of products that I use to achieve my goals. I mean, I'm talking about fitness goals. There are a couple of sugar replacements, there are a couple of vitamins, there are a couple of other things. So, you know what? Seek any help that you can, and I hope that you achieve what you achieve. Um, I'm looking at my current connection. This live stream, again, maybe it's not the right time. Maybe, you know, there are better motivators, but it looks like I try to create a channel where I'm helping people to inspire with real transformation, with real feelings, with real struggles. And I guess, you know, I'm not celebrity. I guess I'm not popular. I try to promote myself a little bit more, but it may not be working. If you would like to see more of those live streams, please comment down below. Um, you know, it takes a lot of my time to find that motivation at 5 o'clock in the morning to talk to people out there. And you know, if it's not getting any traction, I really would like rather spend time with family and you know later with friends and not waste time if no one's listening. But if at least one or two people or maybe even more listen, I'm helping someone, please comment down below and I create more videos. I'm here for you. I just don't want any of my significant effort go unnoticed because I think it's not a good thing to do, not for me, not for anyone else. For those who tune, for those who listen, thank you so much again. Greg from Brisbane, Australia. Until next time. For now, goodbye.